Brikama market vendors are unhappy over the city's plan to demolish metallic stalls. The Ghanaian sole survivor of 2005 Gambia migrant massacre appears before the Truth Commission. And millions of Nigerian girls have become school dropouts due to underage pregnancy fueled by the COVID-19 pandemic. These and more coming on the world today. Stay tuned. Good evening, viewers. You're watching the World News Bulletin. Today, I am Sohna Tunkar, and now to our news in detail. Vendors at the Brikama market are crying foul against the city's area council for its plans to demolish their metallic stalls and build new ones in the market. But the move has sparked concerns among vendors of the market, saying the newly built stalls may not be given back to them. Our reporter, Binta Jallo, has been talking to some of the affected people, and she files in this report.
About 200 shops in the Brikama market are about to be demolished by the council. As part of its quest to build a modern and standard market for the people of Brikama and its surrounding, officials of the Brikama Area Council for the past years have been confronted with a lot of challenges to implement their development agenda in transforming the market. But the recent outbreak that have a negative impact on vendors and residents of Brikama forced the council to go ahead with its long-time plan of renovating the market. However, the move did not go down well with some of the vendors at the market.
Okay, around February.
This has been going on for a while now, since February. The area council came here and took our names and phone numbers. When I asked them what was going on, they said they were going to call for a meeting, but they never did that. After a week, they came with a notice of 2 weeks, and then we have to vacate our shop. We all welcome the development they have said they are bringing to the market. We've all seen pictures trending on social media about the Brikama market.
I have been in this market for so many years, and I can't get a permanent place to sit. If I sit anywhere, the area council will come and ask me to leave. We are citizens like the people working in the area council. If they remove us from here, how are we going to survive? We are voting for the government, but it looks like it's in vain. This is where we are surviving. So if they ask us to leave this place and go to the allocated area they give us, how will we survive before people know our location? I'm sure the government is not going to give us anything to survive.
This is really disturbing. I lost my dad, and I am the breadwinner of my family. I'm even embarrassed at the moment going home every day without any money in my pocket. Only God is helping me in terms of survival. I'm pleading to the area council to at least, if not all, agree to some of our demands.
We visited the Brikama Area Council to know their side of the story, and Piero Lamin Signate said the council has project signed with their counterpart, a project worth $1.9 million for the construction of 88 market stalls, and the affected sites is where the complainants are currently, and they use the taxpayers' money to implement these projects. He said they are adhering to the needs of people, thus they are compelled to do this. He added that they were in agreement.
I think they are miscommunicating, or they are judging things. The assurance is already there. You understand? Because prior to our going there, we are dealing with they have a body representing them. That's the local market committee, of which council don't have a hand in selecting them or in electing them whatsoever. But they themselves, as vendors, they came together and formed that association. That's the Vendors Association, and it's been led by a local market committee. So basically, council is directly dealing with that local market committee. Whatever we want to do, whatever we intend to do at the market level, our first point of call is those people. We call on them, we put forward our intention, we agree. There are some instances we will disagree, but we end up being agreeing. That's natural.
The Brikama market is one of the largest in the West Coast region and among the busiest in the country that attracts some thousands of people from all walks of life daily for both businesses and shopping activities. More than 72 stalls were born to URSS in the Brikama market last year, which left the market struggling to accommodate the demand from the people in the region. Reporting for Africa TV, Binta Jallo.
Brikama market vendors are fearful of losing their stalls as the city plans to renovate the market. Now, moving on, first she made history as the first woman and the first African to be chosen as Director General of World Trade Organization. Now, she took office at a time when the world is facing economic meltdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But Dr. Okonjo-Iweala promised to work with members of her organization to quickly address the economic and health consequences brought about the pandemic.
Dr. Okonjo-Iweala is the first woman and the first African to be chosen as Director General of WTO. Her term will expire on 31st August 2025 with renewable option. The General Council decided to choose her following months of uncertainty, which arose when the United States initially refused to join the consensus around Dr. Okonjo-Iweala and threw its support behind Trade Minister Yoo Young-hee of Republic of Korea. Following Ms. Yu's decision on 5th February to withdraw her candidacy, the administration of newly elected U.S. President Joe Biden dropped the U.S. objection and announced instead that Washington extends its strong support to the candidacy of Dr. Okonjo-Iweala. In her first day at the WTO, she met with directors and took an oath of office. She also attended a meeting of the General Council, the topmost decision-making body of the WTO. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala said a key priority for her would be to work with members to quickly address the economic and health consequences brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic.
We need to prioritize action on COVID-19 both for the immediate and longer term and focus on completing the fisheries subsidies negotiations before the middle of the year. We must agree the roadmap for reform of the dispute settlement system and prepare a work program to achieve this, which can be endorsed at MC12.
The consultation process undertaken by the chair and facilitators was established through guidelines agreed by all WTO members in a 2002 General Council decision. These guidelines spelled out the key criteria in determining the candidate best position to gain consensus is the breadth of support each candidate receives from the members. During the DC selection processes of 2005 and 2013, breadth of support was defined as the distribution of preferences across geographic regions and among the criteria of members generally organized in WTO provisions, that is, least developed countries, developing countries, and developed countries. This same process, agreed by all members in the General Council in 2020, was strictly followed by Chairman Walker and his colleagues throughout the 2020 and 2021 DC selection process. Reporting for Africa TV, Binta Jallo.
The South African economy has sustained a severe setback due to the government implementing COVID-19 lockdown across the country. Over 3 million jobs have been lost due to the pandemic, and women constitute almost 2 million of the people affected. However, a clothing bank in Cape Town has opened its doors to women who want to start their own businesses. More in this report.
South Africa's economy took a devastating blow during the COVID-19 lockdown, but women have been left worse off than men.
In April, which was the first month of total lockdown, so everything was shut down except for essential services. Of the 3 million jobs that were lost, just under 2 million belonged to women.
The clothing bank in Cape Town, which helps females start their own businesses, had hundreds of women flock to their doors in a desperate search for work.
And we've really got a lot of applications. We had to turn the applications to doing them online because of the protocols, the COVID protocols. But there is a crisis out there. So we had to, in fact, start a whole food scheme during the lockdown because we were really getting a lot of requests from people saying, please, can you do something? Please help us.
The bank was only able to accommodate some of the women who had nowhere else to turn.
A lot of companies closed, and especially in the area where I live, most of our women works in clothing factories. And they were very hard hit in terms of companies closing and never actually opened after we went back to level 3. Most of our women in our areas is single parents, dependent on the social grant.
I'm a mother of one child, a son, and I'm unemployed. I'm at the clothing blanket at the moment as a trainee. It's really stressful. You feel small because you can't provide for your family, especially for my child. You can't pay school fees, you can't pay transport, you have to rely on someone else.
Women have suffered the brunt of the COVID-19 pandemic, raising concerns that gender inequalities in the labour market have worsened.
So your level of education is affecting how COVID is impacting you. So people with less than 12 years of education have been the highest hit in terms of job losses. This again goes to our history because of the inequalities in terms of education, inequalities in terms of access.
There's been huge progress in South Africa over the last 20 years to include women in the job market and elevate them to management positions. But many of those gains are being eroded by the marathon lockdown.
The Ghanaian sole survivor of the 2005 Gambia migrant massacre appeared before the Truth Commission on Monday. Martin Kiera explained to the commission how he and his colleagues suffered in the hands of the Gambian security officers ever since his arrival in the country to the day he escaped from the soldiers in a forest.
About 51 West African migrants bound for Europe were murdered in the Gambia by the junglers, the then killer squad of the former President Yahya Jammeh in 2005. Martin Kieri, the sole survivor, says he left Ghana in 2005 to Senegal because that's the backway route they used to go to Europe. The witness told the Truth Commission that they were tortured by soldiers upon reaching the seaport in Banjul and they were armed with cutlasses.
It's about soldiers with cutlass. It's not about asking you where you are coming from, but rather beating you.
You said soldiers with
Cutlass and guns. Yes. So, initial stage, the way they are beating and the things going, we thought that they are going to put us in the sea. So, we were brought to Banjul port. When you come down from the vessel, you meet a soldier with long cutlass. So he put the cutlass at your top here, and he just tear it, and all your shirts go down, and you put it at your thigh here. He just tear it, and your trousers off.
Martin says he was detained at Bundung Police with 9 others over a week. He says 5 of them were taken to an incompleted story building and later picked by soldiers at night. The witness explains to the commission how he managed to escape from the soldiers.
Someone will say, Ajamu said, I live at Abuakwa, and my wife and my children are there. If you have chance to go, try to, And other guys say, I'm from Western region, and other guys say, oh no. It's like, I don't know. You are going to be killed. And I'm from here. I'll go and tell my family, go and tell my people. It's not.
You know, more man and crash at the Beya to say the medical cano, or bet me a couple or bush for Amane, say Assembisia.
And it was at that time I decided to jump from the pickup.
16 years on, Mr. Kieri is the key witness in an international effort to bring Yahya Jammeh to trial for what was probably the single largest mass killing during the 22-year reign of terror. President Yahya Jammeh's hit squad, the junglers, revealed at the TURRC that they did the killing on orders from Jammeh. Jammeh's 22-year rule was marked by widespread abuses, including forced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, and arbitrary detention. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amindao.
From that report by Amindao, we will go with a short commercial break. The news continues. Stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is the World News Bulletin, and to the rest of our stories. And still on matters of human rights violation, the witnesses to the horrendous human rights violation of the 2005 West African migrants killing said the incident was a terrible one, and it was very scary too. They explained how the event happened and the steps they took to see that something was done about it. Our reporter Omar Toure had a discussion with some of them, and here is what he files in this report.
Ismail Ajani, the alcalo and imam of Ghana Town, gives a recollection of the event when they discovered dead bodies at the Parks and Wildlife Forest here in Brufut.
At the mosque by 2 o'clock, when I was waited by the PIU that they should come and report at the PIU. So when I came, they said, "Oh, we have found dead bodies lying the bush there. So we'd like you to, whether you can identify any of them, whether a Ghanaian from a Ghanaian community." So unfortunately, I came and then sighted the place, and where I came at times, we just see. I saw them, some of them, the cops lying, some on their back and some on their sidelines, and they were scattering on the bush. So I was here over.
The scene of this incident is about 100 meters away from the Park and Wildlife Office. The Imam says they want justice to take its course after they yearned for it for nearly 16 years. He says the 2005 incident was appalling and shocking.
We are very sorry that in fact we didn't feel okay because it was sorrowful, and it was very. We are all disappointed that such occasion occurred. So definitely we are not we are not in a good mood that time. Definitely we are very sorry. So we are not happy at all on that.
Some were scared.
Yeah, it is scared too.
It was scared.
Scared, yeah, scaring.
The former foreign minister, now the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, came here to investigate this killing. But how did his investigations end? Al-Hassan Muhammad Koli, the deputy imam, explains.
Former minister of foreign affairs, who is currently a president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, he came here, and we all went there. We all went and then met with him, and then we followed him to the let's say this police unit. What do they call it? PIU unit. So we went there, and then he was in fact even asking the PIU inspectors who were there that where are the informations, because if anything like this occurred, they should be able to have the files. But I was standing there, they were not able to even bring out the file. It was like they were not prepared to even give any information.
Close to 50 Ghanaians and other West African migrants were killed in the Gambia and 8 in this forest. 16 years on, the truth is revealing, and justice concerning the massacre will soon ensue. 3 former junglers testified before the Gambia Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission that they and 12 other junglers had carried out the killings on Jammeh's orders. The primary suspect, Jammeh, now resides in Equatorial Guinea. An international investigation would be best placed to uncover all the facts. For iAfrica TV, I am Omar Ahmad Toure.
Millions of Nigerian girls have become school dropouts due to underage pregnancy thanks to COVID-19 pandemic. There have been growing concerns over the girl child education in Nigeria, as 60% of the country's 13.2 million non-school going children are girls, according to the United Nations Children Agency. As we feature this report, a 15-year-old victim explains her experience, while experts believe the government needs to devise new policies to cope with the situation. Here is more in this report.
I feel so bad. And then I'm so hungry.
The frustrations of a pregnant 15-year-old whose real identity is concealed as she narrates her ordeal.
One of my uncle's friends, he used to come to our house. Sometimes he used to watch film, he used to touch me, he was romancing me, he used to sleep with me.
Fati's life has been on a downward spiral. Dealing with the physical and emotional trauma is hard enough. She's also had to drop out of school. Millions of girls like Fati have found themselves in similar situations. Their hope of returning to school has been dashed.
They drop out because there's all this manner of stigma. You know, they're made to feel as if they've committed the worst possible offense socially. You know, they're made to feel as if they've broken taboo. And that's one of the reasons why many of these girls hide the pregnancy. Some will not say they're pregnant until they're so advanced, you know, in the pregnancy, and that puts them at risk, maternal risk.
According to a World Bank report, about 11 million girls from middle and low-income countries like Nigeria may never return to school. This is as they become vulnerable to sexual and domestic abuse, forced labor, and underage pregnancy amid the COVID-19 pandemic. For a country like Nigeria, having more girls out of school has far-reaching consequences.
We lose $200 billion every year by not adequately educating and utilizing the female members of our workforce. So that's money lost for the economy. Why do I say that? Is because, you know, most of these women drop out of school, you know, so they're not able to become financially independent in many cases.
Education for the girl child in Nigeria has been at the center of conversations. According to the UN's children agency, UNICEF, 60% of the country's 13.2 million out-of-school children are girls. Factors like religious beliefs, insecurity, poverty, and gender inequality are major drivers of this statistic. It's now exacerbated by the pandemic, destroying the decades of efforts to reverse the trend. Experts say governments may need to enact policies that can support pregnant teens and reintegrate them into the educational system.
Traditional weavers in Tunisia are facing financial challenges amidst the COVID-19 travel restrictions in the country. Businesses were likely affected as thousands of their products could not be exported, and domestic festivals were also halted. However, the government has launched a national program that could help resuscitate the industry in the next 2 years. Details in this report.
Suad is a craftswoman who has mastered the art of weaving different products using date palm leaves. Basket weaving is her favorite activity, which she learned from her grandmother.
I learned this art form when I was 5. I'm still using the same process. I choose the best palm leaves from the oasis. I work for hours and sometimes for several days to make a single item. The baskets are very useful. I've made tens of thousands of items. That's how I've always earned a living.
The craftswoman makes fashionable items and modern designs to attract new clients. Suad also sells carpets, trays, floor mats and wall decorations in her boutique.
This job is not easy. It needs patience and talent. I'm trying to transform this ancient art and heritage by making modern items which can be used for decoration at home or anywhere. Many clients make special orders for their businesses, companies, or hotels.
The president of the National Handicrafts Federation says traditional weavers are facing financial difficulties due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The situation of palm leaves weavers is very difficult. Thousands of professionals are no longer exporting their handmade items. Domestic and international exhibitions and fairs have been interrupted for more than a year now. Their unique source of income is threatened.
According to the Tunisian Confederation of Industry and Handicrafts, the import of counterfeit has affected the original products made by traditional craftsmen. The government has launched a national program to support palm leaves weavers over the next 2 years. Tunisian palm leaves weavers say the absence of tourists due to travel restrictions has dealt a heavy blow to their activity during the first and the second wave of the pandemic. In addition, young apprentices are reluctant to learn this ancient art.
We now end today's newscast. I am Sohna Tunkara. Gambia 24 is up next at 19:30 GMT with Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Gambia may be the smallest country in Africa, but it will host the